If tonight your thoughts feel louder than the night itself, if the list of tomorrow unfurls in your mind like an unending road, come and rest here for a few breaths. Tonight, fall asleep to God's promises. Let one truth be the first thing you hear. The one who spoke light into darkness drew near to us and stayed, with skin, with voice, with a presence that does not leave when the lamps go out. John 1:14. Imagine that nearness as a hand that has already been placed gently on yours. Feel it not as pressure, but as presence. The Word did not remain distant. The Word became flesh and made a home among us. That same nearness holds you now, in the quiet of your room, in the hush between one heartbeat and the next. You are not drifting alone through the dark. Emmanuel is close. Let your breathing slow. Inhale slowly, as if you are receiving a name. Exhale, as if you are releasing a worry you have been carrying all day. With each breath, picture the nearness of the one who came near. That is not an abstract idea for sermons and classrooms. It is a lived reality for the lonely, the anxious, the sleepless. God with us means a companion who stays awake with you when sleep feels impossible. There is no need to fix everything right now. You are permitted to arrive exactly as you are, tired, restless, uncertain. The presence we speak of is not waiting for you to be more worthy, more ready, more composed. It welcomes the full weight of your honest heart. Let that welcome be enough for now. If this brings you calm, consider subscribing for more nightly promises to rest with you in the dark. Listen to this promise as if it were a small, steady light placed on the bedside table. Jesus said, "I am the light of the world." John 8:12. He did not speak of a glare that startles. He described a light that guides the foot, that makes familiar the next step, that keeps company in the middle of the night. Picture a gentle lamp. The room is still. Outside, the world may blaze with distant noises and busied lives. But here a soft circle of light rests where you are. It does not chase away the night with a flood. It simply reveals the path a little at a time, tenderly, without urgency. Allow that light to brush the edges of the things that worry you. Notice how some shadows lose their shape when seen in patient light. If your thoughts are bright with what-ifs, let them pass like moths around the lamp. You do not have to follow each flutter. Name one worry quietly, place it on the small table near the light, and set it down. The light does not scold the concern. It holds it and makes it manageable. See how the edges soften under that glow. Breathe out exhaustion. Breathe in calm. Let your shoulders drop. Let your hands rest. The lamp is steady. The one who is light has promised not to be extinguished. That promise is a presence you can lean into. It is not a quick fix. It is a faithful companion through the long, slow night. Listen with your body now. Imagine the warmth of a small lamp at the foot of your bed. The warmth is not heat that keeps you awake. It is the warmth of being seen. The Lord's light is not a bright interrogation of your life. It is a tender witness that says, "I am with you, even here." Let that witness breathe over you. Now picture a well of cool water threaded with moonlight. The same voice that became flesh speaks as living water. You may carry a thirst you do not know how to name, a longing for rest, for meaning, for relief from the ache you feel when night pulls at old losses. Hear the promise not as a slogan but as an invitation to drink. Imagine cupping your hands and drawing water from a quiet spring. The water is clear at first touch. It carries away grit. As you raise it, feel the coolness meet your lips. Each small sip does not have to fix everything, but it satisfies something deep and softens the edges of hunger. In this picture, you are allowed to be nourished in the small ways that matter. One steady sip, one warm crumb, one honest breath. Jesus spoke of bread and water not to speak about food alone, but about the soul's quiet hunger and thirst. He offers himself as the source that feeds without demand, that satisfies without hurry. You do not have to earn the meal. Rest enough to receive it. Imagine a simple bread, warm and fragrant, broken for you. Let the thought of being fed ease the tightness in your chest. With each image, allow your eyelids to feel heavier. Let the muscles around your jaw soften. Let the mind stop inventing arguments with the night. Picture yourself at a small table by that spring. There is no agenda here, no urgent list. There is only the slow, safe rhythm of giving and receiving. That rhythm is a promise. As you breathe, imagine the edges of your day folding in like a map being closed. The map is not erased. It is stored for another time. Tonight, you are permitted a different posture, to be held, to be fed, to be allowed rest. The world will continue to turn. The cares you carry are real. But for this night, let their volume fall beneath the sound of a steady draw of water and a gentle offered loaf. Think now of green pastures you have seen in memory, or imagine them if you have not. Picture a patch of grass that is not sharp, but soft, a place where the world reduces itself to a small, safe square of earth. A shepherd leads to such pastures, not to push you on, but to bring rest. The voice of that shepherd is familiar. It calls your name in a tone that recognizes you. Imagine hearing your name spoken in that intimate way, and feel how recognition relaxes the alarms of the mind. Do not be in a hurry to understand how the shepherd will make the path safe. For now, accept the comfort of being known. The knowledge of you by name is not a distant theological fact. It is a present reality that loosens the tightness around your ribs. Let the shepherd's voice be the last sound you lean toward. Let it outmatch the anxious thoughts that have been clamoring for your attention. You may notice under the surface of your worry a fear of tomorrow, blank schedules, abrupt decisions, small humiliations replayed. Night can multiply those concerns into tall shapes. We will not argue them into smaller sizes. Instead, we will mount them on the simpler scaffolding of presence. The one who named you then stands by you now. The hand on yours does not flinch when the images arrive. It stays, it steadies. If a familiar loss waits at the doorway of your sleep, someone absent, a goodbye not finished, a conversation you wish you had, imagine placing it into the shepherd's hands as you would hand a sleeping child to a trusted friend. There is no urgency to resolve everything tonight. Let the deed of handing over be enough, a small act of trust that allows your body to follow. As images slow and breath deepens, a quieter company arrives, the witness voice who prepared the way. John the Baptist in the Johannine narrative points attention to what is true beyond the noise. He named the one who comes as greater, who stands in the midst of ordinary lives and changes the way we understand even the simplest acts, like drinking or eating or lying down to rest. Imagine that voice as a distant bell, clear and unhurried, marking a point of return, from wandering thought to settled presence. There will be moments tonight when the mind reawakens to a worry like a sudden wind. When that happens, do not judge it. See it instead as a guest who has arrived late. You are not responsible for entertaining every thought. Let it pass through the room and out the open window. Return to the steady images, the light, the water, the bread, the shepherd's voice. Each time you return, the passage back becomes easier. Consider now the small, earthly textures of rest. The linen beneath you, the way your hair rests against the pillow, the trust of your spine against the mattress. These are the simple signs of being held. The incarnate Word chose these kinds of realities as the canvas for divine nearness. God did not choose only thunder or mountaintop revelations. God chose ordinary rooms and tables and fields. Let that ordinariness be an invitation to settle. The sacred is present in the simplest comforts, a blanket pulled up, a soft pillow cradling the head, a lamp left low. As you imagine these things, notice how the tension in your hands eases. Let your fingers relax one by one. Let the spaces between thoughts widen. The body is often the last place to receive permission to rest. Give it that permission now, quietly, with intention. You can say to yourself softly, I allow my body to rest. Repeat it if it helps. Words, when given slowly, can act like a small lullaby. Someone once sat beside another who could not sleep and simply hummed. The hum did not solve anything grand, but it kept company with the night. Let the images we have used do that work for you, to hum the steady truth that you are not left alone. The presence that became flesh is present now. The light that guides your foot is here. The water that refreshes and the bread that satisfies are offered. The shepherd knows your name. Hold these images as a soft company. It is common to think that faith demands performance before rest, that you must have certain feelings or tidy certainties to be allowed peace. But the pattern we find in John's Gospel contradicts that. Time and again, the presence comes to the uncertain, to those who groan quietly, to those who cry and yet cannot altogether name their need. The offers of living water and bread are extended without preconditions of emotional perfection. They are offered because presence precedes performance. Now, as the narrative of promises moves inward, let your heartbeat slow a little more. If a sense of dread lingers in the throat, name it, maybe without words. Place it beside the lamp, place it near the well. Allow the presence to stand between you and the dread. Imagine that presence breathing steady rhythm into your ear. You are held even as night keeps its watch. Soon we will move deeper into the fold together. There are passages to follow that speak of the voice that calls and the opening of gates and rest beside still waters. For now, keep returning to the simple actions. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel the hand on yours. Notice the lamp, sip the water, taste the bread. Let those small acts map a gentle corridor straight into sleep. If a thought brings shame, do not let shame be the last thing that visits you tonight. Remember the pattern of the stories. Those who were afraid and those who were lost were met, not condemned. The light came to reveal and to heal the places where fear had settled. Let healing be a quiet, interior making of order, not a flashy erasure. It moves at the pace of breath and the slow release of held tension. Allow an image now of a small boat on a calm lake with a person you trust at the oars. You are not the one who must row. The person at the oars knows the waters. You recline, safe, feeling the gentle rise and fall beneath you. The lake does not threaten. It bears you. The voice of the one who navigates calls softly, and you answer, not with words but with the surrender of shoulders and the soft closing of eyelids. This is not to escape reality. It is to place your reality in hands that can hold it without breaking. You are not being asked to reject the things that trouble you. You are being invited to reposition them within a larger care. Let that repositioning feel like the slow, patient pulling of a blanket up to your chin, a modest, tangible comfort. There are times when the night's questions are loud enough to wake the whole house in your mind. When that happens, call to remembrance one small promise you have been given before. Perhaps the memory of a kindness, a line of scripture that warmed you, a face that smiled when you felt unseen. Let one small remembered grace be the anchor for the rest of the night. Do not try to summon many such things. Often one is enough. Stay with the sensation of being slightly held. It might feel precarious at first, and that is okay. Your body will acclimate. The mind, too, learns a rhythm. It moves, and then it returns. Each return becomes less fraught. Each time you come back to the well seems deeper. The light grows more familiar. The shepherd's name falls more easily into your ear. We will walk together a little further into the landscape of promises. There is a voice that claims victory over the small tyrannies of fear, one that invites not bravado, but a quiet courage to sleep. There are images ahead that will speak of life beyond the tug of worry, of a place where morning is met, and where sleep can be a small resurrection of rest. For now, rest in the present images. Let them settle like soft linen over your shoulders. Feel how your limbs grow warm and heavy. Notice the subtle slackening around your mouth. Notice how the room's noises take on a distance when you turn your attention inward to these promises. You are not abandoning responsibility. You are choosing a wise hour for rest. The promises you hear are not instructions to perform. They are invitations to receive. If a small fear edges forward, the worry about what morning will bring, imagine placing it in a small box by the water's edge. Close the lid for tonight. Promise it you will return in the morning with clear eyes. For now, let the box be sealed. Let the water's rhythm and the lamp's glow hold the space. As your breath becomes more regular, notice how words slow. Thoughts come in a softer register. The voice that will meet us next in the narrative is a shepherd's voice, a familiar calling that provides both direction and rest. We will approach that voice with gentleness, You do not have to hurry. Let the last thing you attend to for a while be the feeling of being known. Let that knowledge be the pillow upon which your head rests. The one who came to dwell among us knows your name. He knows the precise shape of your sleeplessness. He will not be surprised or disappointed by your unrest. He stands ready to be the presence that holds you through the night. Allow your shoulders to fall again. Let the steady rhythm of your own breathing be the metronome of this moment. If your jaw tightens, unclench. If your fists are curled, open them and place your hands where they feel most comfortable. The body hears the language of small motions and responds. Let those small motions be your prayer of rest. Soon, we will lean further into the image of the shepherd and the still waters. For now, rest with the lamp, with the water, with the bread, with the sense of a presence that will not abandon you. Keep returning to the simple images when the mind wanders. Each return is a gentle practice of trust. As you drift toward that place where words thin and sleep gathers, let one final image from this part of our time together settle over you. A small, steady light. A cool, soothing cup. A warm, broken loaf. They are simple things. They are true things. And they are offered freely. Let them do their slow, kind work. Now let the image of the shepherd deepen. Hear again the familiar voice that moves through the fields of the heart. Jesus said, "I am the good shepherd." John 10:11. He did not say that the path will always be smooth, but he promised a presence that walks ahead, that keeps watch at the edges, that knows the shape of each footstep. Imagine the shepherd's cloak settling over you, like a blanket made of steady care. Feel how recognition of your name draws a soft correction in the ribs, a loosening, as if someone who knows your weight has shifted their shoulder to take some of it. Breathe in the image, green grass at the edge of sleep, the earth giving beneath your body where you lie. Breathe out, releasing the impulse to fret. The shepherd's voice is not sharp. It is the kind of sound that steadies breathing. Let that voice be the rhythm you follow now. You do not have to march or strategize. You only have to listen and let the cadence of care set the pace. Trust that being known is itself a caregiving action and allow it to do its work. If there is a tightness that insists on gripping, an old insecurity, a recent slight, picture handing it to the shepherd as if you were placing a small bundle at the edge of a field. The shepherd lifts it gently, examines it as one might examine a thing that matters to a friend, and then sets it down with a single gesture that says, "I will bear this." There is no spectacle to the taking. It is a quiet relocation of weight. Your body can register that relocation as permission to relax. Now imagine the path beside still water, a shallow stream whose surface keeps the moons calm. The sound is not loud. It is a soft, steady hush that matches the slower parts of your breath. Jesus said, in the language of living images, that he offers water that satisfies. Think of the water here as not an obligation to fix yourself, but a simple renewing touch. A sip that cools the inside of your chest. A small relief where the heat of worry used to gather. Let the idea of drinking be unhurried. You do not need to drain the well. A single sip can change the quality of a night. Let the breath follow the stream. Inhale with attentiveness. Exhale toward the bank. Picture your daily burdens laid one by one on river stones. Watch them become smooth under the flow. You are learning the unhurried mechanics of rest. Attention, release, small replenishment. Over time, those actions shape a new kind of night. As the shepherd leads, remember the story of Mary and Martha, and the moment when grief met the one who knows death. There are elements of your own nights that feel like a closed door, an absence that echoes. John tells of a scene where grief was answered with a promise that sounded at first like a mystery. I am the resurrection and the life. John 11:25. Those words carry a particular kind of hope, not a boast that erases pain overnight, but a whisper that life has a way of breaking into the places where fear has settled its claim. Imagine that whisper entering the room like a draft of warm air, taking on the shape of memory and slowly rearranging it so that tenderness can reappear. You may not be able to place that rearrangement into full words. You might only notice that the corners of a memory are less sharp. that an absence no longer presses so hard against the ribs. This is the quiet work of life tending the things that trouble us. Let the thought of life tending you be enough for now. Permit the small, private resurrection of rest to begin. When worries crowd back like a flock pressing forward, let the image of gates come to mind. In John's Gospel, gates are thresholds where protection meets passage. Picture a gate that opens to a sheltered enclosure. You are inside, and the gate stands behind you. The night noises are outside the gate. Your interior is a guarded place. Let that sense of guardedness not feel like isolation, but like a safety that gently separates you from unnecessary alarms. Inside this enclosure, your breath can deepen without constant interruption. Listen now to the promise of another presence, the Advocate, the Spirit who remains alongside those who believe. Jesus spoke of this gift as a companion who would come to teach, to remind, to comfort. The promise reads with tender assurance, "You are not alone from the inside." Visualize a soft light that dwells not only around you but within you, steady and quiet as a heartbeat. This inner presence does not demand display. It simply abides. Let that abiding be a knowledge you can rest upon tonight. Breathe toward that inner light. Notice how it affects the center of your chest, the place where anxiety often heats. The light cools and steadies. It does not rush to fix the world. It brings a calm ordering to your inner room. In that ordered interior, you can set down the things that have been keeping vigil and allow them the dignity of being remembered without the urgency of resolution. There are nights when noise comes as a parade of what-ifs, and the mind strings them like beads. When that happens, keep returning to one simple recollection, a moment of kindness, a face that listened, a small favor that surprised you with warmth. Let that single memory be a bead that you turn in your hand until the string loosens. The presence promised by the Spirit is something like that memory, a small, reliable fact that undermines the tyranny of what if. Now imagine the disciples at the close of a long day, tired feet, and the peculiar relief of being called to rest by a voice they knew. Think of their reluctance to confess how weary they really were, and of the patience with which they were met. You are like those listeners. You do not have to make a theological display of your exhaustion. You are invited simply to be known. Let that knowing act as a hand smoothing a brow. As the scene softens, picture a doorway opening into a dim room where flowers have been gathered. Simple, unarranged, true. The scent is faint and not distracting. It is the suggestion of human care. Let the thought of being tended by small things, lamp, water, bread, diminish the need to be heroic in your weariness. Small attentions are often the most faithful. If the memory of loss presses close, imagine placing it in a corner where light and water meet. It will not disappear, but it will be transformed by gentle elements. The grief will find company in the quiet. It will not be alone. The God who stepped into human life did so among ordinary moments of grief and laughter alike. Let that ordinariness be a permission to lay down your sorrow in an ordinary way. Slowly, by the bedside, like folding a favorite shawl and leaving it within reach for morning. Allow your shoulders to fall once more. Notice the rhythm of your breath as a returning friend. Let the weight of your eyelids be the signal you follow. Now imagine the voice that said, "I will not leave you as orphans." John 14:18. Hear it as a comfort that outlasts your conscious thought, an echo that lingers after the lights go down. You need not articulate the ways it will care. The promise itself is an anchor. Continue to picture a small, slow scene. You lying down, the shepherd nearby, a lamp low on the table, water in a cup, a piece of bread waiting at the edge. The scene is not theatrical. It is domestic, real. The presence that mattered in Jesus' time is present in yours in the same way, in small, tender acts that show up without fanfare. Let those acts become the ritual of letting go. If a sharp worry returns, an unfinished conversation, a pending decision, imagine a soft cloth placed over it. The cloth is not a denial. It is a temporary covering that allows the heart to rest. You can return to the thing later with clearer eyes. For now, practice the mercy of postponement. It is a grace to give your body tonight what it needs: rest. As your attention grows narrower, let one phrase linger. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. John 14:27. Allow those words to sit not as a lecture, but as a blessing being laid like a hand upon your head. The peace is not a manufactured absence of trouble. It is a presence that reshapes your relationship to trouble. Feel it as a calm that does not need to rearrange the world to be true. Let it enter as quietly as a slow tide. Return to your breath and match it to the phrase, breathe in, peace, breathe out, receive, breathe in, peace, breathe out, rest. With this pattern, notice how your mind settles into the cadence. You do not have to solve the day's puzzles before closing your eyes. The breath, the phrase, the presence, these will be the gentle tasks of the night. There is also the promise of being taught and reminded by the Spirit. It is not a requirement of performance, but a companionable tending of memory. As your thoughts loosen, allow the Spirit's quiet reminders to be like a lullaby, short, simple, and true. The reminders are not demanding lists. They are small, faithful truths. You are loved. You are known. You are invited to rest. Now consider the image of victory spoken not as domination, but as stability. I have overcome the world. John 16:33. Hear that as a final note that undergirds the night. The words do not banish the realities of difficulty. They place them within a broader arc. Imagine them as the firm ground under a chair. You can sit without balancing on the edge of fear. This unassuming stability is the soil from which restful sleep can grow. Let this assurance be felt physically. Picture your feet against a floor you trust. Let the trust spread up the legs, across the hips, into the shoulders, and finally into the jaw. Each small shift is a permission slip for the body to do what it is built to do, rest and repair. You are giving that permission now, not because everything is finished, but because you choose to honor the rhythms God has woven into creation. As the night deepens, the images we have gathered begin to dissolve gently into sensation. The cool of the cup on your lips, the softness of the grass under the shepherd's cloak, the hush of the lamp. Words thin. Breathing becomes the dominant motion. Let yourself be guided by it, as if the breath were a small river leading you upstream into sleep. If surprise wakes you, a sudden recall, a spike of worry, do not be alarmed. Treat it as a wave that passes. You do not have to dive in. Name it if that helps, worry or loneliness or tomorrow. Then set it down at the edge of the stream and return to the rhythm of the breath. Each return is a practice, a training of the heart, to accept steadiness over agitation. Think now of the disciples who at times sat in silence with the one who loved them. They were not asked to perform even in those silences. There is a holiness to quiet that does not demand words. Let tonight be a holy quiet for you. There is no scripture to recite, no list to complete, simply a permission to rest within presence. As images fade and you draw nearer the threshold of sleep, feel a sense of being wrapped in the simplest of promises. Presence, light, water, bread, guidance, life, spirit, and peace. These are not complicated doctrines in this moment. They are the textures of your rest. Imagine them forming a gentle envelope around you, a soft, luminous cocoon that does not smother but supports. Now, allow your mental pace to slow towards silence. If a last small thought persists, give it the briefest hospitality and then let it travel on. Picture the thought as a bird alighting on a windowsill. You watch it briefly, then it takes flight. The act of letting it go is not failure. It is the sign of a mature trust that does not need to cling. As the body follows, notice how repeated small acts of letting go have changed you over the minutes together. Each time you return to the lamp, to the cup, to the loaf, you practiced trust. Those practices are not wasted. They take root in the quiet hours and make the mind more hospitable to rest. Give thanks in the smallest way, an inward nod to the courage it took to pause. Gratitude need not be loud. A whisper within is sufficient. There is still a final, gentle benediction to cover this night. Receive it as a single, simple weaving of the promises you have listened to, the nearness that does not leave, the light that walks with your foot, the water that cools, the bread that satisfies, the shepherd who calls your name, the life that outlasts fear. the Spirit who stays, and the peace that steadies. Let these be the last things your conscious mind attends to before sleep claims the evening. Lean into that benediction now. Imagine each promise as a small stitch in a blanket that covers you from neck to toe. The stitches are not flashy, they are deliberate, patient, and real. Feel the blanket's modest weight and the warmth that comes from being wrapped in consistent care. Allow your limbs to relax beneath it. Feel how surrender is not a loss but a gathering, a coming home. Before sleep claims you wholly, hear a brief inward prayer to close this night. Speak it slowly, not as performance, but as an offering of your weariness and trust. Lord, you who drew near and stayed, hold this night and the small sorrows it carries. Breathe your peace into the places that ache and teach my heart to rest in your presence. Amen. If this time was a comfort to you, consider sharing it with someone else who may need rest tonight. A quiet blessing given can become a soft chain of care. Now, without pressing, without hurry, let the last images thin, the lamp softening its glow, the water's hush fading into steady breath, the shepherd's voice a distant loving murmur. Let the rhythm of breathing be your final companion. There is nothing more you must do this hour than receive the rest being offered to you. Let go. Allow sleep to come as a kind friend.